Hi guys, so today is January 21st. The last time I recorded a video was January 4th. I'm gonna put that video up probably before this video. So it's a huge difference in mood, I guess, to go from being so excited about being pregnant and the fact that it happened without any treatment, and it really was a miracle. But unfortunately, 2 days after I filmed that video, actually it was about 3 days, I think it was a Saturday when I tested, and on Tuesday I started bleeding heavily and I went to the ER. They did blood work and an ultrasound, and I believe my HCG was about 650, and they did an ultrasound and they just saw a very small, irregular looking sac. They weren't able to see a baby yet, and there was no heartbeat yet. So it was still very early, probably around 4 weeks pregnant is what they were guessing I was. From the time I arrived to the ER to the time that I had the ultrasound, the bleeding just continued to get worse and worse. It was very, very heavy, passing clots, and there was a lot of pain and cramping, and I knew that something was seriously wrong. I had been spotting on and off for a while, which before I even tested I had a tiny bit of spotting. So when I found out I was pregnant, the spotting concerned me a little bit because, you know, I wasn't on any hormones and I wasn't being carefully monitored, and with my PCOS I wasn't sure if you know, my hormones were at the level they were supposed to be as far as my progesterone. So I was trying to make an appointment to get in and see the doctor to have those blood levels checked, and unfortunately with military health care, you know, sometimes it's just a kind of a hurry up and wait, and they have policies and procedures, and sometimes you can't even get an appointment until over a month out. So, you know, it was only 2 days though in between me finding out I was pregnant and then the heavy bleeding started. So, you know, I had a feeling from the beginning that there might have been something not right, and I'll never really know exactly what it was, if I needed more progesterone or not. I don't know, but anyways, they weren't able to confirm that I had a miscarriage in the ER that day. They told me at that point it was 50-50 because yes, I was heavily bleeding, but it was so early that there was no way for them to tell what the outcome was going to be, and you know, they didn't know the exact cause. So the only way for them to confirm it was for me to wait 48 hours and to go back and get more blood drawn to see if my levels were going up or down, and to get another ultrasound to see if anything had changed from 48 hours prior. So I went in and did that, and I actually, due to a mix-up, they didn't have any doctors on call that morning, even though the ER told me to go to the walk-in clinic. Apparently all their doctors, their OBGYNs, were out at some sort of training that morning, so because of my situation, and of course I was very emotional, just wanted to get answers, and you know, I had emotionally tried to prepare myself for the worst because I knew, you know, I just knew that something was really wrong, and I hadn't stopped bleeding since I left the ER, so I knew it would take a real miracle for everything to be fine. But anyway, the doctor that ended up seeing me, the only one that they could find on the floor, happened to be the infertility doctor that I would have seen had we TTC'd, you know, through the infertility clinic. She was very nice and sweet, and my husband was there with me. We had my daughter, and my daughter was in the room, and you know, the nurses were real sweet to play with her while they were doing the ultrasound. And when they did the ultrasound, they no longer saw a sac. So she said that it was pretty conclusive that I had miscarried, and you know, that they would wait for the blood work to come back to verify that my levels were going down. And I got that call on the way home that they had dropped down to 330 in 48 hours. So she said that was very consistent with a completed miscarriage, and she told me to wait 2 weeks and test again just to make sure that it came up negative and my levels, you know, have gone back to 0. So today is that 2-week mark, and I took that test this morning. I see like a very, very faint line here, but if you'll be able to even see on this camera, it's super, super, super faint. And I don't even know if you can see that on here. Anyhow, I mean, if I saw this not knowing that I had been pregnant, I don't know, I would probably think it was an evaporation line and, you know, wait to test again in a couple days. It's just like barely a shadow of a line. So, you know, obviously my levels have gone down. The positives I got 2 weeks ago were, I mean, blaringly positive. So, you know, this has been a really emotional experience, and I know I'm not the only woman on the planet to experience this, and it's different in the sense that we hadn't really seen a baby on ultrasound yet. We hadn't seen a heartbeat, but regardless, I mean, the idea was there, the hope was there, the excitement was there, because, you know, I didn't really have any reason to believe that when I saw those 2 pink lines that I wasn't going to go on to having another baby. You know, that's really not something that crosses your mind when you're looking down at that test and it says pregnant. You're just so excited, and, you know, of course you're not going to sit and, especially if it's not something you've experienced before. However, I can say that in the future, if I become pregnant again, I feel like that excitement is going to be very much diminished, because it's going to be coupled with anxiety and fear that what that test is telling me is it's not a guarantee. Just because you see 2 pink lines or the blue cross or the pregnant digital test, you know, until you have that baby in your arms, there's no guarantee of what can happen. And it's the reality that pregnancy can be so scary, and there is no, you know, promises of a perfect outcome, of the baby being perfectly healthy, of having a perfect delivery. I mean, there's so many risks, and especially with our history, you know, it's not a given, and it's hard to see that there are so many women out there who take for granted, you know, what it means to be able to get pregnant and carry a baby to term and to deliver a healthy, happy, wonderful, beautiful blessing. It's I think there's a lot of people who take the miracle of life for granted, and it's frustrating, you know, because you have all these questions. Why did this happen? And, you know, did I do something wrong? Is it because I didn't know I was pregnant right away? Is it that margarita I drank? You know, was there something wrong with the baby? You know, was my hormones just not right because of my PCOS and I didn't have enough progesterone to sustain the pregnancy? Like, there's so many questions running through your mind and you want to blame yourself, but it doesn't matter because it's not going to change it. I mean, there's some mornings I wake up and I want to think that the whole thing was a nightmare and that I'm still pregnant, that it was just a bad dream, or that even to the point that part of me wishes that I never knew that I was pregnant, because now I'm mourning this loss and this excitement of this child, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. And, you know, I've watched videos of other moms who've gone through this experience, and my heart always, you know, broke for them, because I know the struggle of wanting to be a mom and just loving your kids so much and not understanding like why it happens to you. You know that it is a reality.